Hey everybody. Good evening. This is Hunter from the Real Pineapple here. So I actually, fun fact, I reviewed Juice and the Black Messiah last year, and it was one of those movies. I was like, I'm gonna upload this. I'm not sure when, but I'll know when it's time to upload it. And just with everything that's been going on with like the Voting Rights Act and just anything political and everything, I went, considering today is MLK Jr. Day, the day that we celebrate it, I was like, this is actually a perfect time to upload this review in particular. So, this is something again that I recorded. I want to say last February, when I was finalizing my best stuff for 2020, because I watched Judas and Black Messiah a couple times. Spoiler, that was my favorite film of 2020. But this is one of those movies that I'm like, it's on HBO Max. Everyone should have seen this by now. If you haven't, you really owe it to yourself to see it. And hopefully if you have watched this, you can go and connect with this review. If you haven't seen the movie, hopefully you listen to this review and go, hell yeah, I need to go watch that. But if you're off today, don't treat it like it's a day off. Go ahead and do something like engage in a documentary, watch Malcolm X, listen to the I have a dream speech in full. Do something to go ahead and actually acknowledge the holiday. Don't just treat it like it's just a day off of work. This is an incredibly important film, and if you have not seen Judas and the Black Messiah, perfect way to go ahead and watch this on MLK Jr. Day. Everyone, thank you so much for listening again. Be blessed, and I hope that you enjoy this review of Judas and the Black Messiah.
For listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network.
Stuff. Thanks again, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. Hope you're all having a great weekend so far. I've got a review for, one of the best movies that has come out all year. If you've listened to my best of 2020, which if you haven't, you can check it out on the channel. Highly recommend you do. But I have a review here for Judas and the Black Messiah, which is directed by Shaka Kane. Shaka Kane has directed a couple things. Nothing too crazy. I believe a TV series called Random Acts of Flyness, which I haven't heard of. He also directed High Maintenance, which is another TV series, and both of those in 2018. Directed a film called Newlyweds back in 2013. And then directed a film called Mulligans in 2015, and hasn't done anything since then. So I have to admit, going into this, and Shaka King also was a co-writer along with Will Burson, who worked on Scrubs. A couple people who haven't been very active here recently. But so I have to say, one of the things I was the most excited about going into this is I'm a huge fan of the two brothers starring in this. Daniel Kaluuya, of course, Get Out. He was a revelation in that. Absolutely deserved the Oscar nomination he got for that film. So this is his second go around as far as being nominated for an Oscar, which great for him, well deserved. But then you see him for a little bit. He's in Sicario, and he's really great in Sicario too. And of course, I can mention him as a Wakabi, and of course Black Panther, where he's great in that too. And I haven't reviewed it for the channel yet, but in Queen and Slim, he is fucking incredible in Queen and Slim. And when we talk about these black actors, because we have to be real, everybody. We've got Angela Bassett, we've got Morgan Freeman, we have Denzel, we have these older black actors, but now we are at that point, I believe, where as a community, Black America is asking, who's next? Who's got next? And you think about Zendaya, you think about John David Washington, you think about Anthony Mackie, even though he's been in the game for a minute. These two men are next. I mean, fuck, they're here. They're here now. Daniel Kaluuya, he as Fred Hampton is, pun intended, he is a revolutionary performance in this. And I will get to my picks for the Oscars by the time this is up. I will have recorded something for that, but he's incredible in this film. And then we move over to Lakeith Stanfield, who of course was in Get Out as well. Also, you know from Short Term 12, Knives Out. My favorite role probably of his is Atlanta, because he's fucking great on Atlanta. And he was great in Dope too. Snowden. I mean, he's got a hell of a run so far in his own right. And when we think about these two and how their friendship really evolves in here, it's heartbreaking once you get to the end of this film, because you obviously know based off the title where this is going to end up. Like, I would not be spoiling by saying where, one character ends up, but as the saying goes, it's not always about the destination. Sometimes it's about the journey, and the journey here is beautifully heartbreaking. So I'm going to go through a couple things here. I'm going to try very hard not to get too much into this, because I really do want people to discover this for themselves. So Lakeith Stanfield plays William O'Neill, who is running this scam where he goes ahead and has a fake badge and goes ahead and jacks people, just goes into bars. And so he went into this one bar and goes ahead, tries to steal this guy's car, and ends up getting caught. And he ends up being caught by Roy Mitchell, who's played by Jesse Plemons. After he gets into a fight with these black patrons at the bar, and so Roy tells him, look, you could be doing, I believe it's like 15, 20 years at least. You could either do that or, you can go home. That's exactly how he says it. You can go home. And just like with One Night in Miami, one of the things I love about this film so much, if not outside of the performances, is the dialogue. The dialogue is just incredible in this film. Roy asks William, when he's, I think calls him Bill in the actual film, but he asks him, why the badge? Why not a knife or a gun like a regular car thief? And William tells him, a badge is scarier, and drops this line, any nigga can get a knife or a gun. A badge is like you have a whole damn army behind you. And that, when we think about the Chauvin case here, when we think about that and George Floyd, that line just has so much resonance when we think about the black community and how we are treated by the police. And that was something I went, wow, that is just, just damn, that cuts so deep and it hits you differently, especially with everything that's going on. But so William goes ahead. It is his job to go ahead and get close to Fred Hampton and basically try to go ahead and bring Fred Hampton down. My only real complaint, I'm going to jump to this one complaint because it really is my main one. Martin Sheen plays J. Edgar Hoover in here, and Sheen does a great job because he's Martin Sheen. But my issue is the way he looks as J. Edgar Hoover. He looks way too close to John Voight playing the principal in Bratz. Like the the makeup and the prosthetics, it looks so bad. Like, I just think it looks bad, and it was really distracting. Anytime he was on screen, I was sitting there going, oh shit, that's right. Huh. All right. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to, kind of deal with this. But again, Martin Sheen's great in the role, but that just made me go. I was like, all right. So that was very irritating to me, but I digress. Most of what I'm going to talk about here are just is really just a dialogue. So I want to jump over to Jesse Plemons real quick. So Jesse Plemons, he, of course, you know him from Game Night. Most likely, you know him from The Irishman. You know him from The Post, American Made, to name a few films. I'm really happy he is going to be in that Scorsese film, because he's been an actor who's really, ever since Like Mike, which I remember him in back in '02, this guy really has been honing his craft. And yes, there have been some not great movies. Battleship immediately comes to mind, but he really has built up this incredible career, this really incredible acting resume, even if the film has been, poopy. He's found a way to make each character work, and his portrayal here as Roy, it's so reminiscent for me of Michael Fassbender in 12 Years a Slave, right? Go, damn, you're one of my favorite actors, but I'm gonna need to be mad at you for about 8 months to a year because of how good you were in the role. Because him as Roy, there's this point where he really where he's talking to William, and he really is trying to convince William that the line he drops is the Black Panthers, and the Klan are one and the same. Their aim is to sow hatred. And I remember tilting my head, looking at the screen, going, wait. We're comparing the Black Panthers, who are fighting for Black people just have a spot at the table, to the Klan, who wants to wipe Black people off the map. That's the comparison we're making. Who are you, Marjorie Taylor Greene? Like, what the what the hell? That blew my mind. But again, people think like this, so I shouldn't be surprised. But when you hear him say it, you go, wow, okay. And I want to say it's Roy who says this line as well, where he goes, you can't cheat your way to equality or shoot your way to it, because of course of the radical, sometimes violent nature that the Black Panthers would take. And I find that really rich, coming from someone who's trying to take down the Black Panthers, saying you can't cheat your way to equality or shoot your way through it or to it. But you can go ahead and oppress people with guns. That's something that occurs. You can oppress people with violent acts. You can oppress people with threats. And when you think about the way that cops have interacted with Black people here recently, it's been fucking insane. And there is a point in this film where there is a shootout in broad daylight, and I'm sitting there watching this going, my God, this took place back in the 70s, and how much have we really evolved? And for me, that was the part that was just fucking soul crushing, really, as I'm watching it, going, wow, like the old catchphrase, history is doomed, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it. And my God, just if this film can be cautionary, I mean, it is cautionary, but watching this, I'm sitting there going, my God, this is just depressing when you think about how much we are just so almost tailor-made to just oppress each other. And yeah, it just really breaks my heart the more I think about it. I want to go ahead, because we need to shout her out. Dominique Fishback, she goes ahead and plays Deborah. She at first is someone who goes ahead and discovers the Black Panther Party. She's at one of Fred Hampton's speeches. She goes ahead and kind of starts working alongside him. They go ahead and end up falling for each other. And I will say that for me was this very endearing common thread that was really nice to hold on to throughout the film. It's really weird because she was in Project Power and The Hate U Give, and I didn't recognize her at all. Like when I saw her, I went, why does she look familiar? Oh shit, that's where you're from. It was a really pleasant surprise. I was really happy that she was in this, and she is right there with Lakeith and Daniel. She is given a hell of a performance here. There's this point where she reads this poem to Fred about their relationship, about their love, and it's one of those things you go, "Wow, you really love him." And that one poem alone, I would encourage you, if you haven't seen it yet, to look up the second trailer for the film, because there's a voiceover with some of the poem that she reads to Fred. And that scene is just so beautiful. And the way that once they get to the point that it's established that they're together, the way that you get to see a bit of a softer side to Fred is something that you go, damn, okay, man, like he understands that, yes, he has this incredibly important responsibility, but also he understands, look, I've got my partner here too. And I love the way that she checks him. There's this whole point about, she even tells him like, oh, like your speeches, you could use a speechwriter. And he retorts, I don't need a speechwriter. I just get up on stage and speak truth to the people. And I love that that's Fred's mindset. The other thing I love about this film, it does not paint the Black Panthers as saints, because yes, as a person of color, while, I love and appreciate what the Black Panther Party stands for, we cannot act like the Black Panther Party have never done anything wrong. The one scene, I want to say it's the Alex Rackley scene. So there's a member of the Black Panther movement named Alex Rackley, and one thing this movie does, and I'll get back to it in a second, but one thing I love that this film does is it plays with tension. There are a couple points where you see William and he gets himself into a couple situations that you go, oh shit, that's really bad. Or the Black Panther Party, rightfully so, is getting paranoid to the point that they think there's a traitor in their midst, with, of course there is. But one of these men who they think is a traitor is Alex Rackley. And what ends up happening with him is so fucking brutal and cruel. I went, wow, that's how you're going to do that. That's how you're going to go ahead and treat him. It's such an ugly peek into what paranoia can do, not just for a single person, but for a movement. And that in particular was something that I just went, I'm really happy that, again, they're not portraying the Black Panthers as saints. And it was something I was wondering if they would go there, and they did. One thing I love that the Black Panther Party did is, they were trying to educate young kids. There's a speech where Fred Hampton is in the school with several other Black Panther Party members, and he's having them do the speech, and not the speech, but go ahead and quote him and go ahead and chant. He goes, I pledge to develop my mind in the struggle for liberation. He has the kids saying that over and over again, really putting in these kids' heads how important your mind needs to be, whether you can, dribble basketball or play a sport or whatever. You need to develop this up here for the world out there. And that was something I thought that Fred Kaluuya's performance really, really hammered home. And I was really happy that they went ahead and did that. Another thing that Fred Hampton was doing, he was trying to unite, multiple groups to go ahead and form, as he called it, a rainbow coalition, between with the young lords and the young patriots. A lot of these white people that Black people at the time may not even want to talk to, because out of fear. But Fred had no fear, and that was something that he clearly knew this path had its dangers, because when you're that Black, when you're that militant, when you're that outspoken, people are never going to be happy about it. And the film does a really great job of conveying that. There is a point, and I will spoil this one thing, there's this point where he does end up going to jail, And the reason he goes to jail, it's just one of those things you sit back and go, really? That's what you're getting him for? That's your big. It hurts your head when you think about it. And just when he gets arrested, that's such a incredibly brutal, harsh scene. I'm going to bring up a couple more things before I wrap up here, because again, I do want to leave a lot of this for people to discover on them by themselves. Lil Rel is in this movie. He has one scene, but his scene is so well acted, and he does such a great job for the bit he's in there. I went, son of a bitch. Okay, Lil Rel, like I see you. I was really bummed that his show got canceled, because I was actually liking the camaraderie between him and Sinbad, but unfortunately, but he's really great in the scene he's in. It's an important scene that he's in. Two more things. There is a point where a member of the Black Panther Party is killed, and this scene where Fred goes and interacts with that fallen member's parents, I believe specifically just her mother. I love that scene so much. It's a very quiet scene, and you could make the argument you don't need to have it in there, but it really does, again, portray and show that Fred, there's more to him than just the revolutionary. He does have a softer side in that he cares about his fallen brothers and sisters. While he's willing to die for the cause, seeing others die for it clearly affects him. And I went, good, you're not just thinking of them as soldiers. They are people to you. And Kaluuya's performance in that sense really comes through. And that was something I went, okay, I really appreciate that. You get glimpses of it in both trailers. Kaluuya's big revolutionary speech, that I am a revolutionary, that speech is, that moment alone justifies his Best Supporting Actor nomination. It is a heart-wrenching, it is a amped up, it is a badass scene where you feel the power of Fred Hampton and how he's able to really just rile up people, but go ahead and inspire people to the cause as well. And the thing I love about this, one of the several things I love about this movie, is that you see William, while he's clearly trying to get close to Fred, to go ahead and earn his trust and everything, which, to his credit, Stanfield does a great job of portraying that struggle that he's dealing with. But there is that point where William, you can kind of tell he really is starting to buy into it. It's no longer an act. And during the I Am a Revolutionary speech, they cut to William, and you see him kind of mouthing the I Am a Revolutionary. And there's this great shot where Roy is looking at him in the crowd, and you just go, oh, you bastard. And it's that look of, oh, you're buying in this now. It's so badass. And I love the way that was shot. I love the way that was shot. Couple of little snippets from the speech. You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder a revolution. I love that. I can't remember if this is in the same speech, but one of the lines that Fred does deliver, it's not a question of violence or non-violence. It's a question of resistance to fascism or non-existence within fascism. And one of the lines, maybe my favorite line that he drops, is, I believe I'm going to die high off the people. I love that line so much. And again, Kaluuya, the way he portrays Fred, it's just so well done. And just, he feels like, you feel how heavy this burden is on him, but it's a burden that he knows that if he's in control of it, he can manage it in theory. But also at the same time, he shows his naivete, because he is 21 years old. So things with the Black Panthers, as far as being able to know where to meet, and these organizational things that, you don't really know when you're in your early 20s. I appreciate that they show those faults in the party, because it does more to humanize Fred and not just make him this concept of someone who's representing the Black Panther Party. So that was a very important decision that I think was consciously made by the writing team of Will Burson and Shaka King that I really did appreciate. And yeah, everyone, this movie is what I want to win Best Picture. I really want this to win Best Picture. I think it's the best film of the year. And, at least out of the nominees, but I love this movie. I love this movie so much. Ryan Coogler was a producer on it as well. So another reason to love Ryan Coogler, you brilliant bastard. But as I wrap up here, as I mentioned, really the only gripe I have is the Martin Sheen makeup. That's really it. And it's again, a minor gripe, but it was distracting to me whenever he's on screen. There is a scene, by the way, speaking of Martin Sheen, there's a scene where he flat out asks Roy, because there's this point where Roy's kind of going, well, why are we just hammering on this guy? We're kind of being a little kind of dickish about this. And J. Edgar looks him right in the eyes and goes, and they have this whole talk about his daughter, because he has a newborn daughter. I think they say she's like 9 months or something like that. And J. Edgar looks Roy right in the face and asks him, what will you do when Samantha is bringing home a Negro? And the amount of rage that filled me with, as someone who's been in interracial relationships, that I can just imagine how that speech has gone on with some of my exes. That talk, and that just pisses me off on a level I can't even begin to tell you. Thank God my partner's mom isn't like that, but my God, that hit me in a place I went, fuck, I don't like that at all, because it's so incredibly accurate. But this film is about as close to a perfect film as you can get. I really, like I said, the one complaint aside, goddamn, this is just a great fucking film. This is a fan-fucking-tastic, easily. Rent this. If you didn't get a chance to watch it when it was on HBO Max, first off, shame on you, but rent this. It is worth every penny. Be prepared to be pissed off, and, maybe watch, I don't know, like Adventure Time or something afterwards to make you laugh. But yeah, this is well worth every penny. Once this comes out, I will be buying this to own. I'm incredibly excited to own this film. But everyone, Judas and the Black Messiah, what'd you think? Let us know in the comments. Go ahead and like both our pages on Facebook at The Real Pineapple, REEL Pineapple, and Real Pineapple Games. I'm going to be hopping on Twitch here soon. I will keep you all updated on when that's going to happen. Don't forget to follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. Don't forget to follow my colleague Scott on Twitter at Nearman1st. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple and Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and tune up at The Real Pineapple. And find us on YouTube at The Real Pineapple. Thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up here soon for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as well as for Nobody, which I am really excited to review that, and some other stuff as well, including a series review of BoJack Horseman. We're breaking that down over 3 episodes, 2 seasons per episode. I'm really excited to share all that with you. But everyone, please stay safe out there. Get your COVID shot. Wear your mask. Take care of each other. And we will talk to you soon. Have a good one.